Hey folks, this is Riker with a Diablo 4 video about 4 indispensable community resources that have been created in order to maximize your efficiency, get your renown done fast, know when things are happening, world bosses, Helltide, how to get the best out of a number of different activities. These are all tools and resources that I'm using and I recommend you use as well. I'll be dropping timestamps in the description if you want to skip ahead to different tools, but I'll also quickly notify you that I recently released a beginner's guide for Diablo 4, but it's got stuff in there that could even help advanced intermediary players. I can almost guarantee you that there's at least one thing in there that you don't know, even if you've been playing this game since early access. There's some key quality of life tips that no one seems to know about. But diving into the tools, the first one is going to be a Helltide Tracker. Helltides.com right now is the definitive resource that I use for Helltide events. You go to Helltides.com and you're going to see, is a Helltide running right now or not? Obviously, if you're in-game, you know, but if you're at a game and you want to know, should I hop on for a Helltide? You don't even have to bother loading up the game. You can just do it from your phone, Helltides.com, and it's going to tell you when the Helltide is going to start if you want a time when you want to start playing the game. Helltides are so super important to do. We talk about this in the beginner guide, but there are crafting resources that you can only get within Helltide. And these will become increasingly important the deeper into the game you go. Now, Helltide only starts on World Tier 3, so you don't have to worry about it until you get there. But once you're there, you definitely want to do it. And the Helltides.com website will also keep track of the mysterious chests, their exact location. So Helltides last for 1 hour. They're 1 hour on, 1 hour off. During that 1 hour, there are going to be chests in different locations, but the mysterious chests, which will require 175 cinders to open, are in a hidden location, but thanks to Helltides.com, you can see precisely the location of those chests, saving you valuable time. And with this tool, you can farm 4 mysterious chests during a Helltide, because at any given time, there is 1 mysterious chest per zone. A Helltide consists of 2 zones that are interlinked. One will be in one zone, one will be in the other, and throughout the Helltide, roughly halfway in, those chests reset. So your goal will be farm up cinders, cash in chest 1, cash in chest 2. Farm more cinders, then once the chest reset happens, go cash in the other 2 chests. You can get 4 again. Those mysterious chests are loaded with resources. These guys are also working on a world boss tracker, and I'm looking forward to seeing that, but that takes us into our next category of tool that you need to use, and that's a world boss tracker. Now, right now, as it stands, after a world boss spawns, the next one spawns between 5 and 8 hours later. It's not on a fixed schedule, it's some kind of randomization between 5 and 8 hours later, so you can't predict exactly when it's going to happen. I'll drop a link to this website over here, which is currently tracking, through user submissions, world boss spawns. It'll tell you when the last world boss was, and roughly the window that you can expect the next one at 5 to 8 hours later. Then, as we're coming up, you're going to get an in-game notification 30 minutes before a world boss spawns. That's when users begin to submit their reports, and you can read the user reports, you can read the confirmed reports, you can read the disputed, the rejected, but you can go by these user submissions to see, oh, okay, people are starting to get the world boss timer, let me hop into game and get ready for that. This site also tracks zone events. If you want to be doing Legion events, there are also user submissions to track those. Now, if you use Twitter, this is another world boss tracker. These will tweet out the next possible start times for a world boss. And when a world boss is confirmed, they send out another tweet. So if you're a Twitter user, you can have your notifications enabled. And so whenever a world boss is confirmed, you will get that notification. If instead you're a Discord user, you can go to discord.gg/Diablo4. This is the official Diablo 4 community Discord, partnered with Blizzard. Within it, they have world trackers as well, so you can get notification pings when a world boss is coming up. Again, world bosses only spawn on average every 7 hours. They're relatively quick to do, just a couple minutes, sometimes even seconds, depending on how powerful the random group might be that shows up. So even while I'm working on other stuff, if I see, bam, world boss spawning, okay, I'll hop into game just for those couple minutes to do the world boss. Next, you're going to want to use a map tool, a world map tool. There's a couple different ones here. The one that I've been using lately is d4planner.io/map. But there's a few different tools, and they all do more or less the same thing, where you can have displayed everything that you need. This is a critical tool for completing your renown. You can show the location of every altar of Lilith, every waypoint, every dungeon. You can sort by zone. You can hide or show different things depending on what you're looking for. If you're focusing on Renown and Skosglen, you can hide everything from every other zone and just see, for instance, the dungeons in Skosglen. At some point, you will want to collect every altar of Lilith. It's a little bit of extra power. At some point, you're going to want to complete all your Renown. It's a lot of extra power. An online world map makes it so easy. And another reason I like d4planner.io is that at the main site, you also have the ability to create builds. You can see the skill tree of every class. You can start plotting out your skill points, your paragon boards, what aspects you want to equip into what inventory slot. And that ties into the last resource that I want to highlight here. And this is for build guides, tier lists. If you're wondering, what are the best builds? What are the best builds for what activity? What are build guides? What skills, what paragon boards, what items do you want to take to maximize your effectiveness with any given build? Again, there's a number of different resources, but maxroll.gg is the one that I use and that I rely on. They have a number of different tier lists. One is focused on leveling. What are the best builds for leveling up to 50? They have an endgame tier list. What are the best builds from 50 to 100 for generalized content? They have specifically a speed farming tier list for that endgame content, which are the fastest builds to do the content that requires the greatest amount of speed. And then they have the Nightmare Dungeon Push tier list, which are the builds that can do the most damage and survive the longest. Maybe they're not fast, but they are going to be the most powerful builds that'll let you push as far as possible in Nightmare Dungeons. And the huge advantage of having a tier list in a website rather than in a video is that this website is kept up to date. Whenever Blizzard issues patches, you can see in the patch notes below the changelog, what has changed and why. What modifications have they made to the tier lists based on the balance changes and the nerfs and the buffs that Blizzard has been doing, as there have been a number of them even within the first week of Diablo 4's release. And straight from these tier lists, if you see a build that interests you, you can just click right through to it. They don't yet have a guide on every build, but on all the top builds, the S tier, the best builds, they do, and these are very thorough and robust build guides that go over everything. All the skills you want to take, what class specialization stuff to do, the play style, the skill rotation, what items you're looking for, what are the affix priorities to look for on those items, your gear progression, what you're going to do when you're just level 50, what you're going to have as your perfect gear in the end game, and what you're going to do in between. They even have the paragon boards laid out in different steps, how you're going to progress and advance and evolve your paragon board, what glyphs to take. So those are currently all the resources that I'm using to maximize my gameplay, but I turn the question to you folks, what tools are you using? Are there any that I didn't cover that you feel are critical for people to know? Sound off in the comments. And as a reminder folks, do check out my Diablo 4 beginner guide for a whole ton of different tips and tricks. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. Check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Riker's Raiders for more Diablo 4 content.